What's poppin', observers? It's me, MT, and welcome back to the Heavy Spoiler Show. This is going to be a breakdown of episode 6 of Rick and Morty season 7, a clip show episode that airs out the dirty laundry of the Smith family. So get ready to stamp your adventure cards, cause we about to jump into it, gang. And the episode starts with Rick on the ground, drunk off of his old bony ass, likely as a result of the events of last episode that saw Rick finally eliminate his longtime enemy, Rick Prime, for the murder and multiversal erasure of Rick's wife, Diane. Rick is definitely feeling the effects of having finally achieved his life mission of revenge, and now he's just using alcohol to numb the emptiness inside, while also, of course, helping Rick deal with the fact that Rick Prime was right about him stealing Rick Prime's family and life. Rick would not have the family and the life that he has were it not for Rick Prime. All of that is just a lot to deal for Rick, which is why we see him getting drunk and refusing to adventure at the beginning of this episode. Morty, in an attempt to both cheer up his grandpa and get back to the space adventuring life, finally cashes in on all of his Morty adventure cards, a concept that first appeared earlier in the series in season 3 episode 4 as part of an agreement between Rick and Morty that allows Morty to choose one in every 10 adventures. And after Rick refuses to honor his promise of letting Morty cash in on any adventure of his choosing, Morty whips out his adventure notes, which includes the names of all the incidents that Morty has counted towards the receipt of an adventure card stamp. On the front page of those adventure notes, we can see Zorbulak's Death Race, Memory Planet with a sub-arrow that says Memory of the Memory Planet, Labradoodle Brain Heist, Interplanetary Cricket World Cup, the Isle of the Mortysaurs, Beanie Baby Zombie Apocalypse 2 times, apparently that happened twice. How does that happen twice? Dark Brunch, which sounds like something that would probably happen during Agatha Coven of Chaos, Regional Plumbing Convention, Takes One to Know One, which Rick mentions directly, Getting Good at Yo-Yo Tricks, Chicken Sandwich Waffle, and Soda Can Grenade Business. And then of course their argument heats up enough to force Rick to call in for an emergency audit from The Observer, which is this universe's parody of the Watchers from Marvel Comics. But instead of big baby men, the Observers appear to be slices of cosmic geode rock capable of replaying the moments of every living being in existence. And later, when the Observer plays the Truth or Dare moment from Morty's List, we get a clear parody of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom video games, with the Sheikah eye on the top of the temple and the blue and orange glow of both the temple and the temple sentries, with those temple knights themselves having been inspired by the 2 stone sentries in front of the sacred grove in Twilight Princess. And to the left of the temple in the episode, you can see a maze that is apparently a parody of the Lo Mei Labyrinth from Breath of the Wild. And as they approach those knights, Rick comments on how he believes the movements of the Guardians from the Breath of the Wild games are predictable and boring, which I thought was hilarious. And in the next memory, we get a flashback to Morty getting Rick a Western bacon cheeseburger from Carl's Jr., a franchise that Rick has apparently been banned from for some mysterious reason, probably related to his favorite hobby of alcohol. And then in the following clip, we get a Maximum Overdrive with clothes scenario, which is of course a reference to the Stephen King book turned 1986 movie Maximum Overdrive, which was a film about a passing comet over a planet causing all the machines to revolt against humanity. And then when Rick is reading the Whistling Dixie adventure title on Morty's List, the words that he's reading aren't actually on the paper that he's holding, as he's literally just holding that front page that I broke down earlier. And the term Whistling Dixie is of course a mashup of the phrase Whistling Dixie and Whistler from the Blade movies, with the scene being a parody of Whistler's long rants about all the vampire killing weapons that he makes. You can actually see Blade's signature gun and boomerangs in Whistler's suitcase full of weapons. And Rick and Morty of course are both dressed up like Blade, with Rick actually wielding Blade's blade. And then after this, we get a flashback to when Morty transformed into a boat while being bullied at school, referencing those cybernetic implants that turn Morty into a car that Rick reveals that he secretly installed within Morty in season 2 episode 6, The Ricks Must Be Crazy. Then later, after the Observer shames Rick for not following his keto diet, we get a flashback to when Morty licks the nostril of a cyborg parody of the Great Ape from the Dragon Ball anime, before we find out that Morty didn't even have to do it in the first place. It was all just part of an ongoing series of Morty bets that Rick apparently has with a bunch of Rick variants at a pub that they all meet up called the Salty Rick. The Morty bets on the wall that we can see include Rick getting Morty to marry Mr. Poopy Butthole, which we saw in the Morty's Mind Blowers episode, which is why it's crossed out, Rick trying to get Morty to believe that he's a ghost, enter a murder-suicide with the president, common law marry a hippo, chug salad dressing, become Santa Claus, and drink toilet water. And then when we get that Invasion of the Hottie Snatchers clip, which is of course a parody of the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, you can see a model in front of a red car and a banner that says Serval, which is of course supposed to be a parody of the Jaguar brand of motor vehicles, as a serval is just a different kind of jungle cat. And later when we get a clip of Spacebeth farting during a mission briefing, we can see that Spacebeth has been working with her father's old battle buddy, Bird Person, to help hunt down high-value Gromphomite targets. And then when we get a clip of Morty stealing $20 from Rick's wallet, you can see Rick's license with a picture of a clearly drunk Rick on the front, making me really want to see a flashback to the day that Rick got his license, because you know that dude had to use some mind control or some high-tech something to get that damn license, because that man was drunk off of his ass that day. Then later, after Rick and Morty get arrested for the murder of the Observer, they mention that they have done this similar type of one-sided court trial situation before, but with giants, which is a reference to season 1 episode 5, Meeseeks and Destroy, when Rick and Morty get arrested for the murder of a giant. And later when we get a flashback to Rick giving Morty a bunch of guns, the last gun that Rick gives Morty shoots out clones of the infamous serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer, before we get a reference to the 1989 movie Pet Sematary, based on the 1983 book by Stephen King, making this the second Stephen King reference of the episode. Then after this, we get the revelation that this Rick and Morty killed the variants of themselves who quickly cameoed in Space Jam: A New Legacy to drop the Tasmanian Devil off to the basketball team. And then when Rick manages to hack into the mainframe of the Observers during the trial, he pulls up a memory of one of the Observers selling a bunch of bootleg DVDs featuring never before seen movies that do not exist in real life. Movies such as a sequel to 2022's Babylon called More Babylon, and Amsterdam 4, which is a sequel to the 2022 movie Amsterdam, the infamous canceled Batgirl movie, which is super funny, a sequel to Oppenheimer called Oppenheimer Requiem, Avatar 3, and a sequel to The Social Network called The Social Network Into the Metaverse, which also of course doubles as an Into the Spider-Verse joke as well. And finally, the episode of course ends with the reveal that Morty's mortal enemy, Churi, has escaped the planet that Rick and Morty tried to abandon him on for the rest of his immortal life, and has sworn to spend the rest of his waking days terrifying Morty while simultaneously planning on how to leave Morty stranded in the exact same way that Morty did to him. Like, I honestly really do hope that this churro becomes a reoccurring character in the series, because it would be so damn funny for a new mortal enemy to be introduced in the episode right after the episode that Rick got rid of his old mortal enemy, Rick Prime. But honestly, I'm on Team Churi, because what Rick and Morty did to that boy was so messed up. They gave him life and then put him on a dying planet, which is technically what my mom did to me, but hey, what are you gonna do? But anyways, that is it for this breakdown of this super ridiculous episode of Rick and Morty. Thank you guys so much for watching. And hey, if you guys want even more amazing Rick and Morty content, go check out Whitney Vision, because my girl, Whitney Van Lanningham, is breaking down everything animation all the time, and Rick and Morty is literally her jam. And my God, are Whitney's breakdowns next level. So after you watch this video, head on over to Whitney Vision and check her stuff out, because Whitney is incredible. Literally has the best cartoon breakdowns in the business, hands down. But anyways, you can follow me at Mastertainment on Twitter or Instagram if you guys want to see me post some weird shit. But most importantly, don't forget to follow Heavy Spoilers here on YouTube, because we're always uploading great stuff that you don't want to miss. And hey, if you got a free second, feel free to leave a like and subscribe, because that really helps the channel a lot. But yeah, thanks again for watching this video. You guys are amazing, and I love you, and it really makes me so happy that you guys keep watching my videos. It's the best thing in the world. And yeah, take it easy.